My Stirling single, part 48. This excellent example of a 5-inch gauge Clarkson Stirling single is now for sale in 2024. This engine is exceptionally well made. Have a close look at the riveting on the tender, just as one example. It's only loosely fitted together. Everything bolts down very tightly. I repiped the tender, which had to be removed to allow me to paint the frames the right colour. Originally, the frames were painted Midland red. This close-up shot of the underside of the tender chassis shows just how well this is made. With the exception of the handles that need to be fitted to the water taps in the tender for the injectors, it's ready to go. The original builder ran it in an unpainted condition, and it runs beautifully. When I refitted the tender, I used stainless steel bolts. I didn't cut any corners whatsoever. In this clip you can see the standard of riveting on the tender. It really is surreal. Originally the tender top was held to the chassis with slot-headed bolts, but I prefer to use these. I'm using some Loctite 542 so there can't be any leaks, although I do think the bushes don't go all the way into the tank. But I was taking no chances. Fitting these was quite tricky. I applied a little bit of Loctite 542 and put them into the holes, and then I had to use one of these, like a universal joint socket driver, to bolt them in position. In this clip you can clearly see the standard of the paintwork. This is my doing. Since these pictures were taken, I've done some more painting. The buffer beams are now red. So you may be thinking, why do I want to sell this thing of beauty? Well, I'm not getting any younger, and I really don't think I'll ever finish this. I do have current health issues, and one of them that's been a long-standing issue is a bad back, from moving a Hammond C3 organ about when I was younger. What follows is a clip from one episode of the 48-part series I made about the work that I've done on this engine. Here I'm checking the wheel loading. What I'm doing here is testing the pressure that the locomotive exerts on the track from each wheel. Doing this is very important with any steam locomotive. So instead of covering the how to do it in this episode, I covered the procedure in detail in part 22 of Steam Engines for Beginners. I'd also like to mention that the twin injectors fitted to this model were made by David English from Jubilee Fittings, especially for me. By adjusting the suspension and the balance of the locomotive, you really can get these single wheelers to pull a lot of weight. This video has been quite interesting because I don't have any lighting. There's been a power cut for the last 4 hours in the village. Thankfully, there's enough daylight coming through the windows to make the video possible. Here are 2 live steam tests of the locomotive, one before painting the boiler barrel and the other after painting. Even though this engine's been steamed in the past, I'm about to steam it for the first time. And it's going to take a while because this is the fire. It's a very small gas burner that I bought on eBay. But it's no problem. I can sit back and look at the engine and plan out what I'm going to do to it after this. And after a while, the pressure starts to rise, very slowly may I add. But with next to nothing showing on the gauge, I opened the regulator and look what happened. Because the steam pressure is incredibly low, the temperature of the steam is also low, and I prematurely closed the drain cocks and it started to knock, so I opened the drain cocks again. As the gas evaporates in the canister that's supplying the burner, the canister gets very cold. So I've routed the blowdown valve from the water gauge via a pipe into the plastic container behind the engine which is holding the gas tank. This helps to prevent the tank from chilling and keeps the pressure up. In this part of the clip, I'm not just waving to you. What I'm saying is do not touch the paint under any circumstances. If you touch the paint, you will mark it. If any bubbles do appear, don't do anything about that, just leave them. I've just noticed that the oil pump is not pumping any oil. So here I'm going to remove the cap and have a look what's going on. Oh, I can see what it is. The little pump isn't going round, the ratchet wheel's stuck. This is probably because the engine's been on a shelf for quite a long time. Luckily, an application of lubricating oil fixed the problem. This engine is complete with fully finished front bogie wheel splashers and a box containing the brake gear. This was made by the original builder but never fitted to the locomotive. All of the nuts and bolts to bolt the locomotive back together are in this small plastic bag in the box. This beautiful locomotive is complete with a boiler certificate, although that has expired now. The price I'm asking for this locomotive is £3,995. Or if you are one of my kind Patreon supporters on the £5 or above tier, the price to you is £3,500, which really is very cheap for a model of this type and quality. Sorry, but there's no postage or shipping available, although I could deliver it within the mainland UK, and payment needs to be by either bank transfer or cash on collection. Even at this low price, if the engine doesn't sell within a reasonable time, I will dispose of it into the trade. That's it for this video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.